Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2171C, and today's date is May 11th, 2020, and the title of the episode is Fauci's Connections to Wuhan Ready to be Exposed. Let's get right into the uncensored X22 Report. Now, we know that the WHO, Fauci, Birx, they're all corrupt. We need to remember something very, very important. Fauci and Birx, they were unknown before this event. No one knew who they were. So what did Trump and the Patriots do? They brought them out from behind the curtain, out into the front. So everyone learns their names. They know Fauci now. They know Birx now. They know Tedros of the WHO. We know that Trump has already decided to stop the funding of the WHO. Why? Because they are corrupt. And very interestingly, Judicial Watch, they have filed lawsuits on behalf of Daily Caller News Foundation for Dr. Fauci and WHO records. Judicial Watch, they filed a Freedom of Information Act request lawsuit on behalf of the Daily Caller News Foundation against the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for communications and other records of National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease Director Anthony Fauci and Deputy Director H. Clifford Lane with and about the World Health Organization concerning coronavirus. The suit was filed after HHS failed to respond to an April 1st, 2020 Freedom of Information Act request. Judicial Watch was looking for communications between Fauci and Deputy Director Lane and World Health Organization. They didn't want to hand it over. So, Tom Fitton, with Judicial Watch, they had to sue for the records. What they're looking for is the time period between January 1st, 2020 to April 1st, 2020. In March of 2020, Fauci praised the work of the WHO and their chairman, Dr. Tedros, saying Tedros is really an outstanding person. I mean, obviously, over the years, anyone who says that the WHO has not had problems and has not been watching the WHO, but I think under his leadership, they've done very well. In April, Trump announced a halt to the funding to the World Health Organization, and he says they are corrupt. The WHO failed in its duty and must be held accountable. Tom Fitton is trying to get to the bottom of this. Now, in our past reports, our uncensored reports, we talked about the Chinese doctor Shi Zhengli. She was part of a team working on coronavirus projects jointly with U.S. doctors in 2014 before it was shut down by the DHS for being too risky. And after the U.S. research project was shut down, Dr. Shi continued her coronavirus research in Wuhan. So Dr. Shi Zhengli, she was part of a team, including Dr. Ralph S. Barrick from North Carolina. So back in 2014, the HHS sent a letter to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill where they announced they were going to defund the program. Dr. Ralph S. Barrick was identified in the letter. And we now know from Dr. Shi's resume and papers that she was still working on the coronavirus at the time. Now, thanks to Yakov Appelbaum, we can now report that the leader of the U.S. task force overseeing the country's response to the China coronavirus, Dr. Tony Fauci, was the one who funded the Wuhan bat virus work and kept it going. If these research projects were banned in the U.S., was it legal for and appropriate for Dr. Fauci to use taxpayer dollars to continue to fund the research in Wuhan? Did Dr. Fauci skirt U.S. laws to fund these dangerous projects in China? It's starting to look like that. Why would Trump put Dr. Fauci out in front with Dr. Birx? Why would he bring attention to the WHO and that they're corrupt? He did this on purpose. He wanted the people to understand who's behind this, because it's very hard to bring someone to justice when nobody knows who he is. But when everyone knows who he is and how they're connected to this, it's much easier. So I do believe that Trump exposed Fauci on purpose so the public would know his name when all this comes out. Now, very interestingly, Senator Tom Cotton, he says that cell phone data suggests that the roads around the Wuhan lab, they were shut down for a number of days in October. This was around the same time of the expected viral release. So Senator Khan also added, there is no doubt the Chinese Communist Party officials were pressuring the WHO on communications around the virus. The WHO knew. China knew. We all knew where it originated. And remember, from Q's post, Q is telling us, remember, it originated in Wuhan. I do believe we're going to see some evidence come out that's going to go against Fauci, go against the WHO, and it's going to show that they were behind a lot of this. They're following the money. And these individuals are going to be brought to justice. Because, once again, this was a deep state plandemic. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.